last kick. This is gonna be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this. And Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions. And there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal. Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a fourth, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me. That is absolutely unbelievable. Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and bettered it. Another whip ball in. The header is in by Virgil van Dijk. Incredible.
A very good evening. Welcome to Season 4 on LFS with me, Caoimhan Ferris. A very good evening and welcome. It is the 25-26 season on the horizon, and tonight we watch two Premier League Summer Series games that will conclude that competition in a pre-season tournament style that will get us underway for the new campaign. First on our list, Bournemouth against West Ham. That's followed by Manchester United against Everton. We'll bring you right up to date with how the competition's gone so far, and we'll talk through the pre-season of all four clubs, because the Premier League season is just on the horizon, less than 2 weeks away now. Just a total of 12 days away, 2 weeks on Friday just gone, and we are ready and waiting for it. Of course, there's a lot of football before that on LFS. Of course, next Friday we kick off the EFL season, certainly the EFL Championship season, as Birmingham take on Ipswich. That's on Friday night here on LFS. But good evening and welcome in. Thank you all for joining us for this one this evening. It's Bournemouth against West Ham. Kickoff is at 7 o'clock UK time, 2 o'clock local time in Atlanta, Georgia, which is, of course, the host for both of tonight's games in the Premier League Summer Series. And let's have a look and see what the fixtures have been looking like so far in this competition. Here it is. So Everton beaten on match day 1 by Bournemouth by 3-0. Very convincing victory for Bournemouth in that one. Manchester United claimed a 2-1 win over West Ham in their game on match day 1 of the tournament. That was in New Jersey, I believe. Then on match day 2, just a few days ago, it was West Ham who beat Everton in a close matchup in that one, but easy work in the end for Manchester United. 4-1 winners against Bournemouth, and that sets up an cracking match day 3 of these games. This is how the table looks then heading into match day 3 of this competition. Now, of course, only 3 games, 4 teams, but only one winner, of course, and these are the standings. Man United top of the table at the moment, 2 wins out of 2, 6 points. Bournemouth and West Ham both on 3 points, having won 1 game apiece, but could still win the tournament tonight if one of them wins this evening and Man United lose to Everton by a goal difference swing of 4 or more. Everton can't win the competition. They've lost both games. They can only finish as high as second, depending on certain results. But we will see what comes of this one tonight. Of course, it is all about pre-season. It's all about getting fitness for the big job when the Premier League gets underway in just around 2 weeks' time. And we are ready and waiting for kickoff here in Atlanta, Georgia. Let's have a look at the two teams then for this one tonight, as Bournemouth-West Ham is our first game of the evening and our new lineups graphic. Hope you like the new graphics, by the way. Do let us know in the chat. Neto starts in goal. They've gone for that 4-2-3-1 that we know so often with Bournemouth. Adam Smith, Elias Barney, Marcus Senesi, and the left back is Adrian Trufer in defence. In midfield is Adams and Scott. Further forward, Traore, Brooks, Tavernier, and Evan Nielsen, of course, the starting striker for Bournemouth this evening. For West Ham United, of course, under Graham Potter, Alphonse Areola starts in goal, a back four for them, which is unaccustomed for Graham Potter in the first start of his journey as West Ham boss at the end of last season. A back four tonight of Wan-Bissaka, Todibo, Aguirre, and Kilman. Then Potts is in midfield with Diouf and Ward-Prowse alongside him in that 4-1-2-1-2 for them. Paqueta just behind the front two of Nicholas Fulkrug and Jared Bowen. The bench is also there. 15 players on each bench as well. Right, we are almost ready to go. The two managers, Andone Iraola and Graham Potter, are waiting their sides who are shaking hands at the home, of course, of Atlanta United, the MLS team, and the Atlanta Falcons, the NFL team, here inside Mercedes Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. And this stadium has been heavily used this summer with a lot of different football across the summer. Because the Club World Cup, 6 games in total were hosted here in this stadium. 3 group games, 3 knockout stage games, and of course a couple of MLS games for Atlanta United as well in the last few weeks. And it is host to 2 big Premier League Summer Series games as these Premier League sides get ready for the new campaign, which starts on August the 15th. And we'll have all of those, as much of the Premier League as we possibly can have this season. We're looking forward to a very, very good campaign. I'll just fix the camera a little bit there for you. Hope you are enjoying the new graphics. We will be testing them out. There will be a few teething problems, as is always the case with new graphics and new setups. But we hope to get your feedback, and we'll have a chat as well throughout these games. And we're about to get underway in a moment. A mascot being brought out here as well. With Paqueta on the back of his shirt as the referee does the coin toss with the 2 captains, Jared Bowen and Adam Smith. West Ham in their new away strip this evening of that kind of beige shirt with navy blue shorts. Of course, Bournemouth in their traditional black and red striped shirt with black shorts as their home strip. Quite interesting so far. All of the Club World Cup games here, all of the designated home teams all came out with victories on those occasions. A bit of an arbitrary stat, but a stat nonetheless for you. As we get ready, the 2 teams in their huddles. It's not the most packed out, is the Mercedes Benz Stadium, but I think some, if not majority of the fans here this evening will be coming for that later game between Man United and Everton. No disrespect to Bournemouth or West Ham, but Man United and Everton to an extent, global forces of football, more well known. I would say obviously Man United more than any other team in this tournament or competition or summer series. That is the Premier League's version of a pre-season tournament. It's what they like it to be known. As we're ready to go then here, it will be West Ham that will get us going for the 25-26 season here on LFS. The Premier League Summer Series is where it all begins. And we are underway in Atlanta for this one. Remember, both of these 2 sides can lift this trophy if they win this evening and result in that Man United-Everton game a little later goes their way. And their way would be seeing Everton beat Manchester United. And Everton side have only scored 1 goal in the tournament so far. Bournemouth and West Ham, very similar in what we've seen of them up to this point. Bournemouth have an early throw-in down that left-hand side. I thank you all, everybody joining in the chat. Mr. Welch, another name change there from our resident Wrexham supporter. Russ Vernon, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Great to have you with us. Thank you all for joining us, and to Arab as well. Just another Andy as well. We can show you the lineups again if you wish. There we go. There's the lineups. Just quickly. Just a quick recap there for you. There you go. We'll keep showing you those. I'll keep you right up to date with everything as the game goes on as best as we can. Of course, this will be my first commentary game of the new season. Here's Adam Smith down the right side. It's a Barney. Just about keeping a hold of the ball there. Right, Adams, central. Lays it to Senesi. Works it back inside here for Traore. Lays it off well out wide to Smith. Down the line it goes to Brooks. Brooks speeds past his fullback there. Brooks into the box and the ball across is somehow well defended. It's put behind for a Bournemouth corner. It seemed very easy for David Brooks down that right-hand side to get round. I think it was Lucas Paquetá that was covering at left back for West Ham. And Brooks wins a corner for Bournemouth down this right-hand side. Chance to put an early bit of pressure on West Ham. Brooks goes short to Tavernier, works it back to Brooks in the edge of the box. He squares it across, and the shot from Zabarnyi was well charged down. The ball fizzed back into the box. Brooks has made a move. West Ham getting up and winning it and clearing it away. And a decent start here from Bournemouth. West Ham on the defensive, Bournemouth on the offensive, as we would say. Nice chip ball down the right side there from Adam Smith, finding Scott. And now Smith works it back across the box. It's Traore that had an effort. Cleared away by Todibo. It's West Ham scrambling to get it clear of their own box, and Wan-Bissaka thumps it up the field. And Bournemouth win it back right away. Struggling to keep the ball early doors here, West Ham, but Bournemouth looking to oppose a bit of dominance on the Hammers in the early moments here. No problem. We'll keep you up to date with everything. Obviously, all the substitutes and all that. And we're trying to get used to it. There's not major changes with the graphics, but there's some changes. You know, we've added a little more details, a couple of different things. We try to restructure a few things, try to fix a few things. So we are trying to give you a more streamlined approach this season on LFS. And you'll see that with all the different tournaments that we have and competitions that we will be covering over the season. But more of a streamlined approach that we are trying to give you. Just make it easier and more enjoyable and more informative when you're watching games with us. Smith to Adams. And Traore feeds the ball well to Tavernier, who pulls off the challenge well. And here's Truffert. Linking up with Traore, who tried to find the ball into the box, but again, cleared away by West Ham, but Bournemouth sitting very high, almost all exclusively in the West Ham half, and West Ham just defending deep. Here's Tyler Adams. Chip ball down the left-hand side, fed in behind. It's a nice effort. There's a ball across the box. It's David Brooks chasing it. And he tried to square it across, and it was blocked behind by Diouf, I believe, for a corner. See this again. It's down the left-hand side from Bournemouth. Flick ball down the left channel. And then the ball gets fed across. It's Brooks at the back post. I don't know what Areola's trying to do. He's trying to maybe smother it. Evan Nielsen's across the middle. He tries to square it across Brooks, and then well blocked by Diouf out for the corner. That was, again, West Ham exposed, but Bournemouth couldn't capitalise as the corner whipped in. Flicked away. Only as far as Traore, who's at the back post. Truffert gets it back into the middle, and Again, West Ham clear their lines and away from danger once more. Just complete one-way traffic at the moment. Of course, these two obviously will meet in the Premier League twice this season. The first meeting is not till the 22nd of November when they meet at the Vitality, and then back at the London Stadium on the 21st of February next year. That's their two Premier League meetings. West Ham have a good record against Bournemouth. If we have a look, their last 4 Premier League meetings between these two have ended in a draw. But Bournemouth haven't beaten West Ham since a club friendly in September of 2020 when they won 5-3. That's 7 games unbeaten in all competitions are West Ham against Bournemouth. So despite the good start from the Cherries, West Ham have the record books in their favour when it comes to these matchups. But of course, pre-season, it's all about building fitness, all about getting the players you want to be at tip-top shape come the start of the campaign. Getting them into that area, getting them right in the perfect fitness level for match day 1 of the Premier League season. That's a lovely switch ball over the head of Wan-Bissaka. Here's Tavernier, fizzes across, and Evan Nielsen hits the post with an empty net in front of him. Fabulous ball by Tavernier. Evan Nielsen, he was onside, and that fizz ball across, he thumps it off the right post. An empty net. Areola's diving, he was nowhere near it. And Evan Nielsen crashes it off the right post and bounces away and out. But my goodness, how close was that for Evan Nielsen? That's certainly a chance you would want to miss in pre-season rather than in a big league fixture. But it was probably harder to miss than to score, really, in that position. You had over half of the goal gaping. And Areola diving. He was nowhere near it, Areola. It was the post. But tonight, Evan Nielsen, a chance of an early opener. Maybe that a little wake-up call for West Ham as they played the ball through to Jared Bowen, but in an offside position, the Hammers captain. And that will be a Bournemouth free kick. Well, clearly the best chance of the game so far, that one from Evan Nielsen. Bournemouth have had a couple of set pieces, a couple of corners, but that was undoubtedly their best attacking move. And here's Adam Smith down the right-hand side now. Goes for the early cross, back post, but with the head of Tavernier, retrieved by Truffert on the left-hand side. Feeds it into Scott in the middle, who cuts it back for the shot from Traore. For the shot that was deflected, maybe minimally, but it was deflected wide for the corner. He tried to get a full thrashing effort behind it there. Did Traore. He got the setup, he got the layoff, and it got the deflection on the way through for the corner. Now David Brooks will take this corner. Left-footed delivery, flicked away at the near post, falling with a shot at the back post. And it's flicked behind, but I think flicked by a Bournemouth player. And that will go offside, goal kick West Ham. No problems, Arab. Thank you very much for joining. Your boy, Khalib, says West Ham going to win 3-1. Wilson just joined them 1-year loan. Yes, we'll talk about their incomings and outgoings of all of the clubs tonight, because there's been a lot of business happening across the clubs. And we'll talk about that. Actually, one of those newcomers is the Bournemouth left-back today, Adrien Truffert. joined from Stade Rennes for £14.4 million. He starts at left back for Bournemouth tonight. Of course, they've lost a lot of the defence, Bournemouth, over the summer. Dean Huyson and Milos Kerkez, the big names that went for big money, really. A combined £90 million they left the football club for. 50 for Huyson, 40 for Kerkez. Huyson who went to Real Madrid and Kerkez who went off to Liverpool, the champions. But there's been a lot of movement in that Bournemouth defence over the summer. Truffert coming in to be the replacement to Milos Kerkez, who made his move up north to the Premier League champions. Todibo trying to get it forward, chested down by Bowen, but smothered, but did hold on to the ball well there, Bowen. Given away cheaply in the midfield by West Ham. And now Scott can break away. Finding it to Tavernier. Tavernier tried to force it through. It was cleared away by Max Kilman. "12 minutes gone, Bournemouth 0, West Ham 0. That's obviously, so far from what we've witnessed, from what we've seen, it's been all Bournemouth. But no goal to show for it just yet. With a lot of possession, Bournemouth. I think it was something like 78, 79% a few moments ago, but they have been dominating that early possession. And you can see the stats there on the right-hand side of your screen. Brooks. Oh, a little miscommunication there, but Scott just about keeps the ball. Finds it to Traore, who swings it out to Tavernier, who had the effort himself, but it was always hitting the side netting from Marcus Tavernier. And Alphonse Areola was committed, but didn't need to be. Lovely ball by Traore. Beautiful little looping effort round the corner. Tavernier took it first time, tried to go himself. And in the end, from that angle, it was always hitting the side netting. Battling for the ball there, and West Ham thought they were going to get the foul there as Jared Bowen went to ground, but it was actually the other way about. It was Marcus Senesi that was fouled. So a free kick to Bournemouth, taken quickly. Lovely ball to Brooks. Landing Smith on that right-hand side. Lovely little combination and the deflection of Kilman there. Puts it out for the throw to Bournemouth on this right-hand side. Lovely work from Smith again. And Brooks dribbling into the box. David Brooks lays it off with a cutback, but nobody in red and black to receive it. And West Ham can clear it away again. Pakita trying to get the ball forward for any little foray forward for West Ham. They've barely even tested Neto or got anywhere near him at this stage. A little turn there by Alex Scott down the right flank. Rolled it back for Brooks. Goes for the switch ball. Cut out well this time by Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He was tracking back there to block off that pass to Marcus Tavernier, and he did so quite confidently there, the right wing back of West Ham. Cheaply given away in the midfield again by the Hammers, but won back well by Diouf. Swung it out to the far right side. Wan-Bissaka, a bit of room to break here for West Ham. He's got Bowen in the middle. He's got Fulkrug joining him. Wan-Bissaka rolls it through, but he was not on the same page of either one of those front two for West Ham. And it rolls through and out for a goal kick to Bournemouth. Again, a rare break forward for the Hammers, but cut out by the lack of communication, really, in the end. And that brought that attack to a pretty disappointing end. As I said, a rarity for West Ham so far to get in the final third in this game. It's going to be a foul. Evan Nielsen a little late there. Well, so far in pre-season, these two have been busy with their games. They've both played 3 games so far in the pre-season. Of course, 2 of those 3 games have come in the Premier League Summer Series. Bournemouth hosted Hibs, the Scottish Premiership side, on the 15th of July, winning by 2-1. Philip Billing and Evan Nielsen on the score sheet. It was then off to America for the Summer Series. They hosted Everton, faced Everton, 3-0 winners. Billing, Ouattara and Adu Ajay getting on the score sheet in that 3-0 victory. And then a 4-1 defeat, quite a massive defeat, quite a shocking defeat really to Manchester United on the second game of the Summer Series. And only their goal, Bournemouth coming late through a Matthijs de Ligt own goal later, denying Man United a clean sheet in that game. But 4-1 defeat for the Cherries in that last game. So they want to bounce back into this one, get back onto winning ways and get one of their players on the team sheet, or the score sheet, sorry, for this one this evening. They play West Ham this evening and then they head back to the UK. They will face the Real Sociedad B team on the 9th of August. That is in 6 days' time, next Saturday. The final Saturday before the Premier League season begins. And West Ham, they will be hosting Lille on the 9th of August, also next Saturday, in their final pre-season game before the new campaign gets underway. We'll talk about West Ham's pre-season so far in a moment. And kind of what situation they're in with Graham Potter, you know, as they have a bit of possession here. West Ham, probably one of their longest spells of possession so far tonight. In this one, as you can see, 68% possession for Bournemouth to 32% of West Ham. So seemingly West Ham starting to get a little bit more of the ball. But as you can see there, 5 shots for Bournemouth, none for West Ham. And look at the passing accuracy, a massive increase. So here, West Ham forward with Bowen, who's scrappling and grappling at everything to keep on hold of the ball. But he's run out of legs and Tyler Adams nicks it away. Here's Brooks. On the right side, he's got 2 men in cover, but he tries to go for that blind pass to try and find a teammate, but blind it was. And he couldn't find a teammate in the end. Well, thank you all for joining us this evening. It is great to have you with us. Our new campaign here on LFS. It's going to be an exciting one. Season 4, it's absolutely flown by that it was, 3 years ago at the start of last month that we'd started this. I'd started this, and it all started with the I think was it the Women's Euros or the Women's World Cup, one of the two. It was the Women's Euros actually. Yeah, it was the Women's Euros back in 2022. Was our first games here in LFS, and how long it has been since then. 3 years on, and we are thriving well, and it's great to have such a great community, such a great support, and so many people joining us for this one tonight. Do get involved in the chat, do like and subscribe, and do follow us. We've got another game coming a little later, Man United against Everton. And then, of course, tomorrow we have more pre-season action as the champions of the Premier League, Liverpool, host Athletic Club. Now, it's a bit of an awkward one tomorrow because Liverpool play 2 games at Anfield against Athletic Club. I don't know what way that's working, but we'll be live at least for the first game at Anfield tomorrow. And you can join us for that before we get to big league action and the championship that starts on Friday. And we'll tell you a little more about that a little later on. 20 minutes gone here in Georgia, inside the Mercedes Benz Stadium. And it is still goalless between Bournemouth and West Ham. A reminder, both teams can still win this competition. They can claim the trophy. As Evan Nielsen makes a run in behind here. Chance for Bournemouth. Cuts it back, just about kept by Traore. Got his foot in there in the nick of time. Truffert. Now out to the left-hand side is Tavernier. Doesn't want to whip one in that time. It's back to Traore and now Adams. A bit more patience about Bournemouth. Tyler Adams. Trying to find options. Goes out wide to David Brooks as West Ham sitting back. 5-3-2 formation. Initially, we weren't too sure about what way the West Ham defence would look. It's a lovely little flick on there from Brooks, who dropped inside, but West Ham defenders there and waiting for it. And had it dealt with indeed, out for the throw on this left-hand side off Caoimhan. Of course, as well, we're not using the headset mic. We're using one of those clip-on mics that we have invested in. So let us know what the audio is like as well, whether you prefer it or not. We're trying to improve as best as we can for you and give you as much improvement as we possibly can. And we're really looking forward to bringing you everything that we have on offer this season. Certainly I am. Indeed. I hope you are excited as well. One season comes to an end, another begins shortly afterwards. Doesn't feel like that it was that long ago that we were crowning the Premier League champions. We were watching the Champions League final and we were getting ready for the summer, and a couple of blinks of the eye and we're back into August. We're coming to the end of the summer and starting a new campaign. Caoimhan trying the long direct ball out wide, and Diouf with a flick on, trying to find Bowen in behind, but it's well dealt with by Marcus Senesi. It was better from West Ham though, a bit more direct. It's a nice ball by Todibo. Bowen dropping a little deeper to keep the West Ham possession. Turns on the ball, finding it through to Potts. Out wide it goes to the right hand side. Wan-Bissaka. Ward-Prowse. Right, Paquetá. Lovely little combinations there from West Ham. Nice little footwork. Bowen trying to force it through. Bowen still scrambling. And it's stolen away from him again as Bournemouth try and counter. But nicely intercepted by Caoimhan, who's forward. Feeds it through to Bowen. Bowen out wide to Wan-Bissaka. Bit of a heavy touch there. He's kept it in play. Wan-Bissaka just working it back with Ward-Prowse. Now Wan-Bissaka again. A little bit wayward as Traore intercepts. And Bournemouth get back onto the ball. That was much better from West Ham United. Crisper passing, sharper movements, better combinations. Everything that Graham Potter will be happy to see from his side. He'd started a little bit slow. Paquetá. Laying it off to Fulkrug, who reverses it out wide to Diouf. And Diouf goes for the early cross, and Bowen gets his footwork wrong. He's still got a chance, and Fulkrug finds the back of the nets. A little bit scrappy, but West Ham will not care. They've probably been defending for the vast majority of the game so far. But they find the back of the nets and open the scoring here in Atlanta. Nicholas Fulkrug, the scorer. And he won't score an easier goal than what remains of his career. Lovely from Diouf. Bowen gets his footwork all wrong, and then he gets it back. It doesn't evade him. It stays with him. Like it stops dead for Bowen. He gets a chance at it again. He rolls it across to Fulkrug, who has the space and the time and the opportunity. And that he takes. And West Ham take the lead. A goal that Andone Iraola will be disappointed by conceding, considering they'd started well, Bournemouth. But it is Bournemouth 0, West Ham United 1, and Nicholas Fulkrug gets a round of applause from his manager, Graham Potter, in reaction. 1-0 to West Ham United there. And arguably, I don't think many will be arguing against this statement, but against the run of play, if I'm not mistaken, if not their first shot, certainly their second at the very least. Might just be their first effort of the game. I believe it was their first shot of the game. Here they come again with Diouf down this left-hand side. Smith having to get ahead of his man and rescue it out for the throw-in. A couple more updates actually on, we can update you. Girona thought they'd taken the lead against Wolves in a pre-season friendly. That was a goal early for Girona, the Spanish side, but that goal was disallowed, so Wolves are still level in that one against the La Liga team. And there, those two sides first meeting against each other. Wolves still looking for their first win in pre-season. A draw and a loss from their first two pre-season matchups have Wolves. What reaction will Bournemouth have to going behind? So, again, as I said, against the run of play, so shockingly, really, you know how well they've played and how fruitful they've looked in the final third and how threatening they've looked. But West Ham's defence came out on top for a long while, and in the end, it was West Ham that took the lead. We do have a corner here, Bournemouth, on this left-hand side, so a chance to maybe respond quickly. And I'll tell you the situation with the Summer Series and who can lift the trophy after this corner. So Alex Scott to take this corner on the left side for Bournemouth. Right-footed, off the near post, cleared away by Paquetá. Back to Scott, who whips it in again a bit higher. And Zabarnyi off the crossbar. Cleared away by Evan Nielsen. Whether it crossed the line, there was no indication that it did. And it's cleared away by West Ham. But my goodness, that was close. Ilya Zabarnyi with a header. Clattering off the crossbar. Fabulous cross by Scott. And a thumping header by Scott. Bullet off the underside of the crossbar and away. That's close. Very close from Bournemouth. We've been denied by the woodwork now more than once in this game. Hit the post through Evan Nielsen. Now at the crossbar through Ilya Zabarnyi's header. See this again, lovely by Scott. And then Zabarnyi's header off the underside of the crossbar. It bounced down. Evan Nielsen trying to react. He had his header punched away by Alphonse Areola. And that was a stat that they led last season, Bournemouth. The most shots that hit the woodwork, 23 was the most in the Premier League last campaign. And already tonight they've been denied by the woodwork twice. Zabarnyi a bit more direct as Scott was trying to get the ball, but he was challenged a little late there by Potts, and that's going to be a free kick to the Cherries. Freddie Potts, the 21-year-old Englishman, came through the West Ham Academy. He was on loan at Portsmouth last year in the Championship. He was in the West Ham setup and has been in and around West Ham for the pre-season, but this is his first official appearance for the Hammers this season. I love the confidence, Mr. Welch. I love the confidence in your football team. Of course, we will certainly be keeping a very close eye on the Championship this season. As I said, starts on Friday. Birmingham against Ipswich. Newly promoted Birmingham against newly relegated Ipswich on Friday nights. Get us underway at St Andrews. Looking forward to that one. It's on Friday at 8 o'clock. Our first official league game of the new season. Here's another corner for Bournemouth, taken short. 30-minute mark. True fair. Goes to the delivery. Headed away. Not very far though. Brought down by Evan Nielsen, but cleared away once again by West Ham. Well, they've adopted an approach, West Ham, in this first half of A lot of defending. And the rarity when they've got on the attack and got into a good position, they find the back of the net and take their chance. It's the personification of sit deep and hit on the break. It's what West Ham were so good at under the previous, the prior coach, of course, David Moyes, who they were quite successful at. A lot of their threats came from counter-attacking situations, but didn't quite work out with Julian Lopetegui last season. And so far, it's not been plain sailing under Graham Potter, but they'll be hoping for an improvement this campaign, will West Ham. Of course, I was going to talk about where they are, where they've got to. The Hammers. And we'll get to that in a moment. And for you, I want to talk about managerially, where they are and what way they're working out at the moment. Of course, obviously, Graham Potter, the current head coach, it's his, I believe, 19th game in charge. No, that wouldn't be the right. He had 18 games last season and only won 4 of them in his 18 games. That's actually a worse win percentage than the previous manager, Julian Lopetegui, who had 22 games in charge and won only 7 of those games. It's not particularly enamouring there from West Ham United. It's quite interestingly, Graham Potter has the lowest win percentage of any West Ham manager that managed more than one game. Certainly West Ham permanent managers. 22.22% for him, which is not particularly a good record for any manager at any level, at any case, really. You know, West Ham hierarchy still believe in him. Still believe he's the man for the job. We'll see how West Ham compared to last season, which was certainly not one to remember, finishing 14th in the Premier League, knocked out of the Cups early, 3rd round in both FA and EFL Cup. And of course, had been used to European exploits over the last few years, West Ham, but none of that last season, none of that this season. Smith. Bournemouth try and find a way back on level terms. We've got 11 minutes of the first half or so to do. Let's try and find that. Equalising goal. There's Scots. Zabarnyi. Now, Senesi. Flicking it out wide to Tavernier. He takes it down on the left flank. Quite close to that corner flag as he finds it back to Truefair. Now Traore finding Tavernier again, and goes for the cross early, but blocked by Wan-Bissaka. And cross for the throw. It is the throw-in. Again, they're moving the ball well, Bournemouth. They've had a lot of the ball, but it's about using it in the right areas, making the most of it when they have it. And that's been their issue has been. That's a deep ball, but far too deep. Goal kick it will be from Traore there. And just another Andy says, Wrexham have the money to buy themselves into the Championship, but I doubt they have enough to buy themselves out of it. But we'll see how they do at Wrexham. And we're hoping we will be able to watch them, but of course, with the new season coming up, I will have my own Irish league commitments on some Saturdays, most Saturdays. So we will see what way the schedule works out. But I'm fingers crossed we will be able to see as much of the Championship this season and as much of Saturday action as possible. But of course, balance will be necessary. But of course, we will have our double-header Sundays when the Premier League returns as well for you. Maybe a bit more, because the local broadcaster here in the UK will of a lot more Premier League action over this season to come. A lot more games, so we might see a lot more of us when it comes to Premier League football for the coming season. Certainly, I for one, I'm not complaining about. Tavernier, nice flick, finds Scott, back to Tavernier, couldn't squeeze it through, but Scott's got it again. A little short towards Traore there, but they just about keep the ball, Bournemouth, and the referee's going to play advantage as there was a foul in the build-up there. That's a nice flick by Brooks, but too far for Smith to retrieve. And it goes behind. Whether the referee's going to pull it back for the foul a little moment or two ago. On True Fair there from this time number 25. And it was Todibo, I believe, was the one that committed that foul. Now we're going to pull it back. Actually, they're going to give the corner. I'm not going to give it back. But Todibo's down. He's had an issue, that collision a little earlier with True Fair, but he won't need any treatment, is what he's telling the referee. And he should be okay to continue. Jean-Claire Todibo, this time centre back. David Brooks to take this corner. Left-footed. Flicked across again. Half cleared as Tavernier retrieves it. Brooks again at the byline. Brooks across the box. Brooks with a chip ball. Couldn't find a teammate again. Gotta say, they're getting into good areas, Bournemouth. Once again, they're not quite finding the right targets. Not finding the players they need to find. Not finding the areas they need to find. It's probably the more likely case. As Adams works it back again. Seems to be that little bit of a blockade for Bournemouth when they get forward. There's just that final moment of their attacks. It's not coming off at the moment. Zabarni switching it again over the top. True Fair keeps it in. That's it back to Tavernier. Body's in the box. Tavernier evades one challenge. Evades another, but the ball evades him and leaves him on that occasion as they try and corner West Ham in Bournemouth, but they don't do so successfully, and Todibo wins a throw-in for West Ham to try and break out. So 6 minutes or so to go before half-time. Bournemouth 0, West Ham 1. Nicholas Fulkrug with the goal after 25 minutes for the Hammers. Give them the lead. Remember, either of these two teams could still win the Premier League Summer Series trophy with a win tonight. They do need to win and hope that Man United lose, and there is a goal swing of 4 goals or more between the two games for it to be a victory for one of these two, but they can both still win with a victory and results elsewhere. Tavernier with the effort. Charged down. Adams retrieves it again. It's a lot of Bournemouth possession and the West Ham defending. As Adams' switchfield ball actually deflects centrally for Bournemouth, but again, West Ham with just the number of bodies over there and in that area, just stifling Bournemouth once again. It seems to be a recurring theme. Bournemouth trying to work it between the lines, trying to find those tight spaces, find those areas where they can threaten. West Ham's defending out of possession has been quite impressive so far. It's Diouf to take this throw in on the left-hand side. Switched across by Paquetá, finding Wan-Bissaka in space down the right side. Now going to be crowded out by Bournemouth players, but he will rescue the throw in there, Wan-Bissaka, which is quite smart. There was really nowhere for him to go. Beyond where he'd already got to. And just as I say that spell of possession from West Ham didn't last too long from that throw-in, as they've given it away very, very cheaply. Of course, we keep a very close eye on how these two teams do in their final pre-season games before the new season in less than 2 weeks' time. There's a lovely ball by Brooks. Smith to cross, blocked on that occasion by Paquetá, dropping in, and it stayed in play. Paquetá dealing with it well down there at left back position. Diouf combining well with Paquetá as he squares it across. Oh, he's given it away cheaply. Diouf, Tavernier works it in behind. Couldn't find Evan Nielsen. It was initially good combinations between El Hadji Diouf and Lucas Paquetá, but Diouf in the end squared it across the edge of his own box, and Tavernier tried to find Evan Nielsen, but not successfully so. In the end, West Ham get away with it, but less than convincing on that occasion from the Senegalese, El Hadji Diouf, who has joined West Ham this summer from Slavia Prague. £19 million is the touted fee that was paid by West Ham. Here's Paquetá out wide for Bowen to flick one across, but chested behind by Smith, who knew there was a man behind him. He didn't want to take a risk and puts it out for the corner. And, experience of Adam Smith there. Puts it behind for the corner, and that's the first corner of the game for West Ham. This will be a chance for James Ward-Prowse to deliver for the very first time this evening. Whips it in. Up in the air by a Bournemouth head, but it's kept alive in the box. As it's scrambled away now. Traore tries to send Bournemouth on the counter. Here's Tavernier. He's got Brooks chasing. Brooks is the target. Tavernier was blocked on that occasion by Diouf. He got back and defended the area very, very well. It's one of those ones where it was an audacious effort by Marcus Tavernier to try and find David Brooks, but if he did find him, it would have been audacious, but El Hadji Diouf was in the right place at the right time to cover off that opportunity. Here's Tavernier for Bournemouth. Wide it goes to Truffert. To Senesi. Right, Adams. Oh, nice work there between the lines from Bournemouth, but cut back by Traore. Couldn't quite find Tavernier, although they've pressed to win it back through Adams. Tavernier again. Trying to find Traore, but the little touch off the foot of James Ward-Prowse takes it out of their path, and Ward-Prowse can try and clear it up the line for West Ham. As Bowen was brought down by Senesi, and a free kick to the Hammers. Justin Rolani says West Ham might be winning this, but does anyone else think that they will be fighting relegation this season? Well, I mean, you always go into the season, as we'll have one additional minute here at the end of this first half, but you know, you always go into the new season with the three teams that come up being the favourites to be heading back down. But if you were to pick amongst the teams that weren't or stayed in the Premier League and were in that kind of bottom 6-7 last season, those handful of teams, maybe your Brentfords, your West Hams, etc., could they all be in a relegation fight this season with a couple of those teams? You never know, but we'll see how they fare as Paquetá didn't catch it right as he entered the box there with that effort. And Fez it well wide. But, you know, you never know. But see what business they do between now and the window closing, how they start the season. You know, it's so important how you get off to a good start. You know, before the first international break, the first 3 games of a new campaign in the Premier League are ultimately important, and we'll see how they fare. As there's the halftime whistle then in this one. 46 minutes of action, and it is West Ham United who head into the break with that narrow advantage. It is Nicholas Füllkrug's goal that separates the two sides here in Atlanta, Georgia. Halftime at the Mercedes Benz Stadium in the Premier League Summer Series. It is Bournemouth 0, West Ham 1. We'll be back in a few minutes for more details on this game, and of course a look ahead to the game later on this evening as well. Do stay with us.
Your one last kick. This is gonna be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this. And Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions. And there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal! Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a 4th, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me! That is absolutely unbelievable! Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and bettered it. Another whip ball in, the header is in! By Virgil van Dijk! Incredible!
Welcome back to the Premier League Summer Series here on LFS for Matchday 3 action of the Premier League Summer Series, where it is Bournemouth 0, West Ham 1 at the break in Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you very much for joining us so far for this one. We'll have the second half in exactly 12 minutes and 16 seconds. So hope you're looking forward to that when it comes around. Of course, both of these two teams can still win this tournament. Let's recap so far where each team has come from in this tournament, the results so far. Bournemouth got off to a cracking start against Everton on match day 1 of the tournaments when they won by 3-0. Philip Billing, Dango Ouattara and Daniel Adjei got the 3 goals in the first game for Bournemouth to cruise to victory. It was then Manchester United's turn just the day after, Manchester United winning by 2-1 on a narrow one against West Ham United, which was a very intriguing game on match day 1 of the tournament. Bruno Fernandes scoring 2 goals in that one, the first from a penalty, the second early in the second half, before Jared Bowen got one back, but it was only to be a consolation in the end for West Ham in that 2-1 defeat. It was a 2-1 win for West Ham on match day 2 against Everton in their game to get their first and only win of the tournament so far. They actually went 1-0 down in that game. Idrissa Gueye with the opener. Lucas Paquetá then equalised before half-time in that one before West Ham won it through Nicholas Füllkrug, would you believe, in that one to win by 2-1. And then also on match day 2, a pretty convincing, after Bournemouth's pretty convincing win over Everton on match day 1, it was a pretty convincing defeat for Bournemouth on match day 2 against Manchester United. 4-1 defeat for them. They were 2-0 down at half-time. Rasmus Højlund and Patrick Dorgu with the 2 goals before Ahmad made it a third inside the 54th minute. It was 4-0 when the youngster Ethan Williams, 19-year-old Ethan Williams from Man United, made it 4 in the 72nd minute before a De Ligt own goal in the 88th was the only goal for Bournemouth on the day. 5 goals in the game, and all scored by players in Man United colours. In the end there, and 4-1 victory for United. So far tonight, it is Bournemouth 0, West Ham 1, and coming a little later, Man United against Everton. Let's show you how the table did look before the game got underway here in Atlanta tonight. So Man United topping the table, 6 points, 2 wins from 2, 6 goals scored, 2 conceded. So a +4 goal difference for Man United. Pretty plain sailing for Ruben Amorim's side, and we'll talk a lot more about them a little later on. Bournemouth started the night in second on 3 points, win tonight, and goal difference going their way alongside Man United losing would win in this tournament. The same is the case for West Ham. Win, Man United lose, and goal difference swing, they would claim this trophy. And for Everton, who are plumb last at the moment, 2 defeats out of 2, just 1 goal scored so far in this tournament, and not a single point to their name for the Toffees under David Moyes as they head into their final game of the camp of this tournament against Man United a little later on. That is the way things look so far, and a reminder for you, that game between Man United and Everton here in the Premier League Summer Series is a tonight 10 o'clock kickoff UK time. That's local time in Atlanta, 5 p.m. Local time, and that will be a little later on for you. Looking forward to that one as well. But thank you very much, everybody, for joining us this evening for this one. We have 8 minutes and 37 seconds to go before the second half between Bournemouth and West Ham, and it is Hammers who lead by a goal to 0. That goal scored by Nicholas Füllkrug in the 25th minute. And you got to say it was against the run of play, because a lot of that first 20, 25 minutes was a lot of Bournemouth possession, a lot of Bournemouth attacking. West Ham didn't have a shot in the game until they'd scored. So really, there was no attacking output really from West Ham before they found the net. And that's the definition of counter-attacking. And against the run of play, it was all Bournemouth. It was all Bournemouth possession, all Bournemouth shots. They were denied by the woodwork twice either side of the goal from West Ham. Evan Nielsen hitting the post and Zabarnyi hitting the bar in that first half. So really, it was a first half where Bournemouth had possession, Bournemouth had shots, Bournemouth had chances, but it was West Ham that got the goal. And really, at the end of the day, it's pre-season. It's all about getting fitness built up for the new campaign. It's all about these players getting kind of passes and getting into rhythm and finding out little new tactical tweaks that maybe the managers want to do for the season. Just getting that rhythm, a bit of practice, really, if you want to say that. It's just practice for the real thing when it comes about in 12 days' time. And for Bournemouth, we knew a lot last season. What Bournemouth was so good at last season was battling back, comeback results for Bournemouth. So if they kind of ignite that a little bit in the second half, they very much could be well on for a victory here this evening. But again, we will not I'm sure Bournemouth, if they do lose tonight or if they don't win the tournament overall, they'll not be too disappointed, because it's a lot more work in the legs and building up fitness for the Premier League season, which is, as I say, less than 2 weeks away. For West Ham, it's positive. It is a positive in the fact that they've defended really well out of possession. And I think that will certainly be a good factor from Graham Potter's point of view. But again, it might just be one of those where the West Ham fans will go, well, yeah, it's maybe a little bit more of the same from last season, where they were good defensively, West Ham, in moments, and good out of possession, but it was when they were in possession, when they had the ball, when they needed to create something, was where the issues came about. They conceded a lot and scored very little last season in the Premier League. And, that is a recipe for disaster. So it will be improvement that will be coming and needed for West Ham whenever they do enter the new season. And maybe this will be a positive factor for them. We will see. But at halftime, they do lead narrowly in this one in Atlanta in the Premier League Summer Series. A reminder for you then, as I said, Man United Everton a little later in the evening for this one as it rounds off the Premier League Summer Series once again. But we will tell you a little bit more about the real thing now, because the Premier League is back. And these are the 20 teams that will be fielding the Premier League this season. Arsenal, Aston Villa, Bournemouth, Brentford, Brighton, Chelsea, Crystal Palace, Everton, Fulham, Liverpool, Man City, Man United, Newcastle, Nottingham Forest, Tottenham, West Ham and Wolves are all the 17 teams that were in the Premier League last season. The three newcomers, the three promoted sides, Burnley, Leeds and Sunderland, are all joining us next season. So a lot of interesting matchups, shall I say, including that Tyne Weir derby that we can't wait to see between Newcastle and Sunderland at some point, twice during the season, of course. The champions Liverpool will come into the new campaign, and they will open the new campaign as we see Game 1, Friday the 15th of August, 8 o'clock, as we open the new campaign. Liverpool, the champions, taking on Bournemouth at Anfield as the new season takes hold. And of course, Liverpool, it will be a very emotional night for circumstances we know very well what have happened over the summer with Liverpool and the losing Diogo Jota, and of course all of their new signings on a very positive note for Liverpool, amongst them Florian Wirtz. Could Alexander Isak be a Liverpool player come match day 1? We'll talk about that a little bit if you want to in the second half. And of course, Bournemouth, one of their former players will likely play against them on match day 1, Milos Kerkez, in a Liverpool shirt, we would expect. All right, that's when the Premier League starts on August the 15th. The opening weekend will run from the 15th to the 18th of August. Across that weekend, we will have as many games as we can possibly fit in for you across that weekend. The second half between Bournemouth and West Ham in the Premier League Summer Series is on the way in just a moment. Do stay with us.
Sure, one last kick. This is going to be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this. And Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions. And there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal. Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a fourth, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me. That is absolutely unbelievable. Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and battered it. Another whip ball in. The header is in by Virgil van Dijk. Incredible.
Welcome back to the Premier League Summer Series here on LFS this evening. Great to have you all with us for this one. It's Bournemouth 0, West Ham 1 at half-time in the first of our two Premier League Summer Series games here on LFS this evening. First of two. And what is that second? I may hear you asking. Well, here it is. It is Man United against Everton. Two very high-profile football clubs. I think one more than the other, but I would say Manchester United will have the vast majority of the fans inside the Mercedes Benz Stadium when this one gets underway. A little later on tonight, 10 o'clock here on LFS, will kick off that game, and that will be the final game, of course, of the Premier League Summer Series. Remember, Man United, if they get a draw or a win, anything other than a defeat would claim them the Summer Series trophy. Even if they do lose, it would be a goal difference swing that would have to deny them the lifting of that trophy a little later on. So match day 1, a first start of the day 1 of the new campaign here in LFS, and we're running you right late into the night. To say we aren't committed would be a little bit of a harsh claim, I would say. We are very much committed of course, to the cause. And thank you all for being as committed as we are in joining us this evening for this one. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. Do get involved in the chat if you haven't done so already. And don't forget to, for the first time this season, like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already. It's right there. I always point the wrong way. It's right there. It was right there. Don't forget to do that for us. That will be greatly appreciated. We want to get to 30,000 subscribers as quickly as possible. And if we could do that within the next few weeks, that will be fantastic. If you can help us in doing that, that will be greatly appreciated. And do get involved in the chat what you think of this game. And we're going to run a few polls in the second half as well. See what you kind of think of where everything is, who's doing what for the season, who you think could be a strong contender, a bit of a dark horse going into the Premier League season. We'll talk about all of that. And maybe where you think these two teams will actually finish up could be more, not on brand, but more on topic come the second half, which is about to get underway. We're getting a bit of an NFL style pre-second half chat with Andone Iraola here on the sidelines with one of the reporters. So that's very interesting. It's something they're actually going to be using in the Premier League this season. There's going to be a few changes to the Premier League this season. I'll put this poll in a moment. So they're going to make some changes at halftime here. Are Bournemouth. They're going to make a change in goal. Jordi Petrovic is coming on. The Serbian, who was signed from Chelsea. He's coming on. And we'll tell you about any other subs in a second as we get back underway for the second half here of our Premier League Summer Series action. And Jordi Petrovic is in between the sticks for Bournemouth for the second half. Neto is the one who was replaced, who was the starting goalkeeper. Here's Scots. And an early chance in behind for Traore, who does well to get away from Todibo. Truffert. Scott. Brooks now on this left side. Bournemouth trying to start quickly. We try and find that equaliser quickly. Well, speaking of Bournemouth, here is a poll. We're going to put a poll in the chat now on where you think Bournemouth will finish in the Premier League this season. So with 4 options: Champions League, other European places, mid-table, or relegation battle. So show us what you think. Let us know what you think. Where you think Bournemouth will finish in the Premier League this season, and we'll do exactly the same for West Ham in a few minutes. So do get those votes in. That'll be fantastic. And we'll let you know how that poll goes in a few minutes. As Scott there was clattered into by Paqueta. And it's going to be a free kick to Bournemouth. Apologies given by Lucas Paqueta to Alex Scott for that collision. So a free kick here for Bournemouth in the West Ham half. Chance to try and get forward to put pressure on West Ham defensively. A defence that has been resolute in holding Bournemouth off in the first half. Chip ball into the box. Headed away by Paqueta. Brought back and whipped in again by Bournemouth. And the flick on by Evan Nielsen is right into the hands of Alphonse Areola in the West Ham goal. Tillman Ball out, chested down well by Bowen. Finding Ward-Price. Ward-Price trying to switch it to Paquetá. Takes it down beautifully first time. And back heels it round the corner for Diouf, who fizzed it across. And it came all the way out the other end for a throw on the far side here for Bournemouth. But applause again from Graham Potter, who seems pretty pleased with what he's seen from his side so far. Of course, it was a struggle for West Ham last season. As I said, it's 4 wins for Graham Potter in 18 games in charge. Certainly not lit up in lights and in gold. I certainly wouldn't want that stat in gold, but we'll have a lot of improving needed from West Ham this season, and they will know that. You know, West Ham are not silly. West Ham are not blind to the situation. They know that they fell well short of probably the expectations that their fans had last season, and maybe wanted to push a little higher, maybe be in a battle for European places, and maybe try and compete, but they were nowhere near it. They were closer to relegation than closer to a relegation battle than a European battle last season. Albeit they were never really a threat of being relegated, but they were just not anywhere near the level that they needed to be last season to really live up to the expectations, really. Here's Antoine Semenyo amongst a number of the subs from Bournemouth at half-time. Petrovic and Semenyo were the 2 subs on, replacing Neto and Tavernier, respectively, for Bournemouth, by the way. Truffert. Across to Scott. Back to Truffert. Truffert with a cross. Cleared away in there once again by the West Ham defence as Todibo tries to find it down the line to a teammate. Bowen was in close proximity, but Marcus Tavernier was there. Or not Marcus Tavernier, Marcus Senesi was there first to retrieve. So Barney did well with a bit of footwork there to get past Paquetá, who was pressing. And now Truffert on the left-hand side. Better from Bournemouth. Scott. And I lay it off to his fullback again in Truffert, but not quite coming out on that occasion. And now Fulcrum trying to send West Ham on the break. Here is Bowen down the right side. He's got ample cover for Bournemouth, but can Jared Bowen create something? Not much room to manoeuvre. Has to go back. There's good marshalling by Tyler Adams there against the West Ham captain, Jared Bowen. He didn't seem to have an easy time of it. Remember, Jared Bowen got the assist for the opener for West Ham. He was their main man last season. Jared Bowen, no doubt about that. He was the man who popped up all the time when they needed him. Total of 14 goals in 36 appearances last season, 8 assists, 22 goal contributions in 36 appearances for West Ham last season. 34 of those 36 appearances came in the Premier League, and all but 1 of those goal contributions came in those Premier League games. The only goal that didn't come in the Premier League for Jared Bowen last season was a goal in the League Cup. Of course, they went out in the early rounds of the Carabao Cup last season. It's actually the 4th season in a row that Jared Bowen has at least 13 goals for West Ham. He is a superstar in the claret and blue of the Hammers. That's why he has that captain's armband. He is their leader. He is their talisman, really. Jared Bowen. And I don't know what West Ham would do without him. Here is Antoine Semenyo, one of the stars of Bournemouth's side. Semenyo dropping inside, but no more room to manoeuvre. Scott retrieves. Adam Smith now. Finding it to Traore, who was blocked off by the referee there. He does apologise for getting in the way. And we'll get the drop ball to Bournemouth. But, I mean, There wasn't much evasion tactics there from the referee. Kind of just stood there. And Traore will get the uncontested drop ball. And we go again. True fair. Out wide to Brooks, who's moved to this left side with Semenyo coming on. Tried the cross. Overhit it. We'll come out to Smith on the far right side. Semenyo now. Now Tyler Adams. He was caught, but no foul, said the referee. As Paquetá leads a charge for West Ham. And he's got Fulkrug through. Nicholas Fulkrug. He's got Bowen alongside him. He's cut it back for Paquetá. Now to Bowen, who absolutely slices it. And directs it well wide for a goal kick. Right after my eulogy of and praise for Jared Bowen. He absolutely sliced it. But it looked like a foul on Tyler Adams. The referee didn't agree. Paquetá came bursting away with it. And then they made it work, West Ham, as Bournemouth flooded bodies back. But they kept the attack going. And in the end, Jared Bowen, the captain, couldn't convert. And didn't get anywhere near the right contact to make any sort of threat on Jure Petrovic in the Bournemouth goal. As I was saying about Jared Bowen, though, he certainly loved to spread out the goals and certainly loved to produce a lot for West Ham. If we calculate his numbers over the last 4 seasons, you know, in terms of total goals for West Ham in the last 4 seasons, 65 goals and 36, I believe, 36 assists. So a total of 101 goal contributions in 4 seasons is somewhat talismanic from any player. And that's not including the season and a half he spent prior at West Ham prior to that. Last 4 seasons. Here's James Ward-Prowse. 10 minutes gone in the second half. West Ham, really the best move of the half again, but no goals to show for it as at the moment. They still lead by that 1-0. Now a little bit of a break here for Bournemouth on the break. It is Traore. Finds it through for Evan Nielsen, who takes the nice touch, but he's carried himself a little wide and shows too much of it to Max Kilman, who can step in and win it back for West Ham United. That was fabulously done by Max Kilman. Evan Nielsen, he thought he had the better of the West Ham defender, but Evan Nielsen didn't quite shield the ball well enough to deny Max Kilman to get anywhere near it. Areola clearing it long, and Bournemouth will pick up and retrieve possession, which has been of no doubt really for Bournemouth so far in the game, where they've been in terms of possession. And flick it forward, nicely held up there by Traore on that occasion. He tried to reverse it through to Evan Nielsen, but again, no luck, no joy really from Bournemouth on that occasion, and it's not creating enough clear-cut chances, you got to say, so far. Of course, as I say, I will caveat everything I say by saying it's pre-season, but this is still a game they want to do well in, want to perform in, and want to score goals. It's going to be a free kick here to Bournemouth. Scott was brought down again, this time by Potts, who's going to get himself a yellow card. Another chance to use another new graphic. Yeah, it's going to be a yellow card here for Potts. Well, I don't think there's much in it, if I'm honest. Potts did well. He got up in the air, he won the ball, and might have slightly caught Alex Scott, but Scott didn't really jump for the ball, so I think it was fair from Potts, but he's given a free kick to the referee and a yellow card against the West Ham midfielder. And from that free kick, by the way, Tadibo headed behind for a corner. to Bournemouth. So more defending for West Ham to do. And so far in the previous 57 minutes, they've defended quite well. From open play and from set pieces. Here's a Scott delivery though, right-footed. Bouncing down. Was cleared away with the second bounce, but he kept it alive for a moment there. It's fed back wide for Scott again. Low cross. Half cleared by Wan-Bissaka. Nowhere near convincing. Semenyo cycles it to Adams. Now to the right-hand side here. Brooks. Out wide it goes. Left-footed delivery into the box towards Evan Nielsen, but evaded him and cleared away. And Bournemouth will just have to give it all the way back to their keeper to sustain possession. Here is True Fair. Nice little 1-2 there with Scott. Back to True Fair with space here in the left channel. Still revert back to Scott again. Now Adams. As it comes out to the right-hand side. Brooks back on that right flank. Lifts it in. But too high for Scott in the middle. And it goes out the other end for a goal kick. Again, the intention has never been in doubt for Bournemouth. The intention is there. It's just about how good their delivery is, how good their play is. That is maybe still, I wouldn't say in question, but maybe just not completely sealed, shall we say. Let's tell you a bit about the poll in the chat. At the moment, we give you a poll on where will Bournemouth finish this season. If you haven't voted already, do keep those votes coming in. I'd be greatly appreciated. We'll do a West Ham one in a minute or so, whenever we conclude this poll. But so far, it is mid-table that is winning the poll in terms of where Bournemouth will finish. Mid-table is around about 9th to 17th, which is a big distance for mid-table, but probably 9th to 14th, I'd say, is mid-table without that relegation battle. But 54% of the vote is going to mid-table. So really, Bournemouth solidifying and kind of consolidating where they finished last season. Kind of that mid-table finish is what a lot of people think. Next up is a Champions League place. 25% now of the vote is saying that Bournemouth will get a Champions League place, which is starting the season will be top 4, could be top 5, of course, depending on how English teams do in Europe during the season on that extra 5th spot. But that's a lot of confidence in Bournemouth. Then next is 12% for other European places, which will be 6th, 7th, and possibly 8th. And then, of course, relegation battle is the least likely of the 4 options, according to the chat, 10%. Here is Traore, gets a bit of a bounce in the box, but well defended again by West Ham. Oh, that was not well dealt with by Areola, but he got away with it. Evan Nielsen was pressing high, and it almost caught out Alphonse Areola. See this again. This is True Fair. Clipped across. The ball headed back across the box by a West Ham player. It was Traore that was brought down, and then no challenge. And then Evan Nielsen just charging in on Areola, who caught the ball. Tried to kick it away, Areola. Come off Evan Nielsen and hit the post. That was far from convincing from the West Ham keeper, who was far more composed and far more relaxed than he probably should have been in that area of the field. But he got away with it, but it would have been a real head and hands moment if that had found the back of the net for the West Ham keeper. True Fair. Thank you to everybody who's joining us in the chat. We will conclude that poll in a moment, but do keep those votes coming in, and we'll give you the final result. But I think something's telling me it's not going to change very much between now and the poll closing. Seems like a pretty definitive decision, and an argument has been made by the chat. And we'll do exactly the same as I said for West Ham, because West Ham could be a bit more intriguing. "62 minutes gone. West Ham haven't made any changes yet. Bournemouth have made that did make that double change at half time for Antoine Semenyo and Jordi Petrovic to come onto the field, replacing Neto and Tavernier, but no changes from the West Ham bench as of yet. And we'll close that poll for now. So the winner of that poll is mid-table, is where the vast majority of the chat is expecting Bournemouth to finish this season. We'll do exactly the same for West Ham. While Bournemouth continue to attack. Traore tried to measure up an effort there, but as he tried that, he was well closed down and challenged as Potts was trying to claim that he was fouled, but the referee just sees it out for a Bournemouth throw. There's the poll for the West Ham prediction. So let us know what you think where West Ham will finish. Of course, we will have our Premier League predictions show. I will be doing Premier League predictions, I think the Thursday before the Premier League starts, so the 14th of August. So a week and a half away. Next Thursday, we will be doing that. I'll let you know where I think everybody will finish. Here's Evan Nielsen. Well blocked there by West Ham defence again, as one of those West Ham defenders goes down. It was Max Kilman that blocked it. There's a player in the white of West Ham that is down at the moment. Maybe needing to receive some treatment. Is there going to be more movement from the Bournemouth bench in a moment? Looks like there's going to be 4 players coming on here, all in one go. Of course, I think the summer series, there's no, because it's a pre-season game, it's a friendly game, essentially. There's no limit on substitutes. Corner taken short by Bournemouth. Here's Scott. Now finding it to Trufair. He wanted the effort. He flicked it in behind. It's shot back across. It's still alive here as it's not cleared away by West Ham. It's over the head of Zabarnyi. And Bowen trying to burst away to attack, but he was well blocked. And Bournemouth keep the ball. Smith to come across to win it. And here he is breaking forward. Traore. 25 minutes to go. Bournemouth 0, West Ham 1. Bournemouth on the front foot. West Ham doing a lot of defending, but it's the Hammers that have the lead in this one. Brooks. Switching out to the left side. Trufair with a cross. And no risk taken there by Diouf at the back post. It's behind for the corner. Now, I'm not having this. This has got to be a wind-up. We have a couple of trolly people in the chat as that corner comes in and goes right into the hands of Alphonse Areola from Bournemouth. What is going on? 10 votes and 60% saying that Champions League is where West Ham will finish. I mean, I don't think you believe that. Never mind anybody else. Keep those votes coming in, though, and try and maybe give us a more respectable result out of that. No disrespect to your opinion. Maybe West Ham could finish in a Champions League place, and it could be more full to me. But I don't think there will be hot favourites for a Champions League place, something tells me. I don't know what that's telling me. Something might tell me that. Keep those votes coming in, though. Thank you very much for getting involved. Nonetheless, we can talk a little bit about new signings and players that have left. Because one thing about these two football clubs we're watching tonight, have had a lot of exits. It's been a big exodus from both clubs over the summer. Hold on, as West Ham come forward. That's a lovely ball across. Bowen! He's definitely touched it and rolled it into the back of the net. That was delightfully done by Jared Bowen. And West Ham United double their lead. All from a counter-attack, all from an opportune cross. that Jared Bowen beautifully touches into the back of the net. Fabulous, wonderful cross right round the back of the Bournemouth defence. Senesi is unsighted. Beautiful from Diouf. And Jared Bowen takes it first time, deftly directs it with his right foot. A cross goal, keeper going the wrong way, completely no chance. And that's a second goal for West Ham. And a goal for Jared Bowen. And the captain, who they know so well when finding the back of the net. And he's found it again there for West Ham. 2-0 to the Hammers. And all smiles for Graham Potter and his team. Maybe the Champions League place is on for West Ham. It's a bit early to be talking about that. That's still winning the ball. You're having me on here. You're having me on. You're definitely having me on. Right, there's going to be a massive amount of substitutes. We'll get a full detail on all of those when we have it, because there's going to be 4 substitutes per team. So it's going to be a real calamity. A real, for want of a better word, bit of a shit show. But moving on. Talking about the two teams in terms of their summer movements before we get to the latter stages of this game. Bournemouth have made 3 summer signings. Jordi Petrovic from Chelsea for £25 million in the goalkeeping role. Eli Junior Krupi from Lorient as well. And then Adrien Truffert, who starts the game tonight. Adrien Truffert from Rennes at £14.4 million. There's some interesting moves, but of course we talk about the money that they've accumulated at Bournemouth in selling players. Milos Kerkez to Liverpool for 40 million. Dean Howson to Real Madrid for 50 million. Those are the big money signings. Jadon Anthony, of course, went to Burnley for 10 million. Mark Travers, the goalkeeper, went to Everton for 4 million. And then a couple of loans and an undisclosed fee. Daniel Jebison went to Preston on loan. Max Aarons went to Rangers on loan. And Joe Rothwell went to Rangers for an undisclosed fee on a permanent deal from Bournemouth. So that's 7 outgoings and 3 incomings for Bournemouth so far this summer. For West Ham, they've made now 5 incomings. It's 4 before yesterday, but 5 now. Jean-Claire Todibo on a permanent deal after a loan spell last season. He's joined for 35 million from Nice. Daniel Cummings from Celtic for on a free. El Hadji Diouf, of course, from Slavia Prague for 19 million. And then Kyle Walker-Peters from Southampton on a free. And Callum Wilson on a free from, a free agent, but from Newcastle, ultimately, where he was before. But a lot of releases from West Ham. They've released a total of 6 players without reprieve this summer. Aaron Cresswell, Lucas Fabianski, Vladimir Sofal, Danny Ings, Kamarai Swire, and Kurt Zuma have all been released. Weren't new contracts coming for them. So a big exodus of players that have been well known to have been at West Ham over the previous number of years. Mohamed Kudus, of course, left for big money, 55 million away to Tottenham, across London. And then Gideon Koduya on loan to Luton in League One. So a total of 8 outgoings for West Ham and 5 incomings. So a lot of business for the Hammers there as well. Excuse me. Right. So that's the way both clubs have been moving in the summer. And here they are with Kyle Walker-Peters, one of the new signings for West Ham, on the field. I've just seen there. Ward-Prowse whips it into the box, cleared away by Bournemouth. A lot of changes being made here in the last few minutes for both teams. We do have the Bournemouth sub. We don't quite have the West Ham subs at the moment. We'll try and bring you those as quickly and as swiftly as we can. But the Bournemouth subs are as follows. Hill, Araujo, Krupi and Ouattara all on. Krupi, of course, one of the new signings. They're all on. Senesi, Smith, Evan Nielsen and Traore all off for Bournemouth. And we'll try and bring you the West Ham subs as well in a second as Areola claims the ball there for West Ham in the box. 18 minutes to go. It looks like West Ham will be claiming victory. Although we don't want to They don't want to count their chickens before they've hatched, as the saying goes. They made 4 substitutions in 1 go as well. Did West Ham. Walker Peters on for Wan-Bissaka. Rodriguez on for Potts. Mavropanos on for Todibo. And Souček on for Füllkrug. So 4 changes there. A piece for each team. So a lot of movement between the 2 teams heading into the final quarter of an hour here. And I got to say, you're having me on. 50% of the vote for the where will West Ham finish this season in 34 votes. 50% saying Champions League, 29% saying mid-table, 12% saying other European places, and 9% saying a relegation battle. So far, I think you're having me on with the Champions League chat, I believe. But if I'm honest, I think mid-table is probably the most realistic position. And that seems to be something what 29% of the chat are believing as well. Do get those votes coming in. We'll close that poll shortly. As Bournemouth still try and battle back here in this one. 2-0 down. When they were 1-0 down, they were trying to battle back for that equaliser, but a much tougher task now. After that great result against Everton in the first game of the Premier League Summer Series. It's been anything but. They haven't had any of their own players, Bournemouth, since that 3-0 win. None of their own players have scored. They've only scored 1 goal. None of their own players scored it. And they've conceded a total of 6 goals across the last 2 games, or the last game and 3 quarters. So it's certainly not been plain sailing for Andoni Iraola's side there since the Everton game. Of course, remember, it's pre-season. It's all about fitness and making sure they're ready for when the big games come around. They they head to the champions, Liverpool, on match day 1 of the Premier League on the opening night of the season. In 12 days' time, Bournemouth will be heading to Anfield. Arne Slot's Liverpool will begin the defence of their Premier League title. And believe me, they have made some big money moves this summer, Liverpool, and might want to make some more before the new campaign gets underway in less than 2 weeks' time. Adams. Back it comes here for Bournemouth as they try and work it forward down this left-hand side with Truffert. He's played a consistent game, Truffert, down this left side. Here's Brooks. Brooks striding inside, trying to force it in behind for the run of Ouattara, but he couldn't quite find it as West Ham intercepts. Danny says, what West Ham player has been the best so far? I wouldn't say overall there's been a ultimate star of the show for West Ham, I'd say, so far. I think Jared Bowen's played very well, as he always does. I think goal and assist is probably all you can really ask from Jared Bowen, and once again, intrinsically linked with West Ham and their attacking exploits. But I think overall it's been a very good team performance from West Ham. And I think a lot of what last season was about was lacking from West Ham, really. They had a lot of great individuals, but they didn't really gel well together. And I think that is something they'll need to improve on this season. And from this game, from what I've seen from this game so far, of course, you always take it with a pinch of salt, but from what I've seen from this game so far, as a team, they've looked solid out of possession, and when they want to get forward, when they want to break, when they want to attack, they look like they're attacking as a team as well, and that's all really Graham Potter can ask of his team. They move together as one. By the way, there was a yellow card given out there to Julian Araujo for Bournemouth. So a yellow card for him for a foul. "77 minutes gone. It's West Ham 2, Bournemouth 0. So let's update you on what the table looks like. So you can see the table in the bottom right corner of your screen. If we can update that, that would be fantastic to get the live table and see how it's going with this game ongoing at the moment. So this is the way it stands then. So Man United still remain top of the table. They would claim the trophy if they pick up anything against Everton. If they draw or win against Everton. If they lose, there's a chance for West Ham, who are currently winning here. But they would need a goal swing. They would need Man United to lose at the minute, lose by at least 3 goals for that to change. That is if they win 2-0 West Ham. They would need that to happen for Man United to be denied the trophy. Any point or 3 points for Man United would secure that. A draw in this game would have secured that. But a West Ham win or a Bournemouth win, plus a goal difference swing and a Man United loss would claim the trophy for one of these 2 teams. But of course, we'll not know the detail of all that until later on when we conclude the game between Man United and Everton. So it's all a bit arbitrary, but there is still a possibility that one of these 2 teams, looking more likely West Ham now, that could win this trophy and claim the Premier League Summer Series trophy to add to their trophy cabinets. It's not a major trophy, but it's something. Araujo with a cross, low and hard across the box, but cleared away well by West Ham again. I think it was Diouf that was sliding in. He puts it behind for another Bournemouth corner. Hi Denise, happy birthday to Denise. Thank you very much for joining and supporting the channel. That's great. Thank you very much. As Bournemouth, we're going to take that corner. The referee spotted something in there that he's going to have to stop the game for momentarily. Have a chat with a couple of players. We're going to close this poll, by the way. You've had me on. 51% saying West Ham will win get into the Champions League. I mean, if they do, fantastic. Fantastic for them. But really? Brooks with his corner for Bournemouth. Whipped in. Up in the air it goes. And West Ham again will have a chance to clear it away as they do so. Oh, nicely won back there by Hill, I believe that was. There's a Barney trying to thread it through the middle, being more direct, but well blocked by Mavropanos. Now Walker-Peters. Oh my goodness, they're going to make another 5 changes here in a minute, Bournemouth. Jesus God. They're going to change, I think, their whole team before the end of they will. They've already made 6 changes, and they're going to make another 5, so I'm guessing that they're going to make a total of, that would be 11 changes. As Freddie Potts is having a bit of a chat with the commentators there on the broadcast. Another new addition to what we'll see in the Premier League this season, I think. And chats with players. Brooks. To Hill. Back across to Araujo. It's another thing we have to get back into. Learning players' names and numbers once again for the new season. That's what the pre-season's all about. That's why we're doing those games. We want to start the new season, of course, and get up to speed and get you all back into the groove of it before we get underway. The Premier League in a few weeks' time, but I also want for me to be on my tip-top best game whenever we do start the Premier League commentaries in 12 days' time, that we do know the right players, we do know into rhythm and back used to doing it after a few weeks of not doing it, of course. It will be 3 weeks, three and a half weeks, where we had our little summer break, and of course we kept you up to date with a lot of transfer stories and a lot of our shorts during that time. But of course it's great to have you with us. Of course the new season underway, and we've got so much to look forward to. We'll actually give you a little glimpse as to what we do have coming up, because I've got the schedule in front of me. Or I will have the schedule in front of me in a second when I do get it up on my screen. But we have a lot for you to look forward to on LFS. I'm really looking forward to this. So tonight, obviously, we've Man United Everton coming up at 10 o'clock kickoff, 10 p.m. kickoff here on LFS. That's a little later this evening in the Premier League Summer Series. Then we have a Liverpool against Athletic Club in a friendly tomorrow at Anfield. That's tomorrow, 5 o'clock kickoff, and then there's an 8 o'clock game, but we'll see how things work out if we want to do both of those. Then we start official league football next on Friday, this Friday coming, the 8th of August, so 5 days' time. Birmingham taking on Ipswich. Birmingham, who got promoted from the League One, and Ipswich relegated from the Premier League, meet in the Championship opener on Friday night, 8 o'clock kickoff. Then we'll have action across the weekends from the Championship, hopefully Saturday action. Then Sunday, we will have the Community Shield for you, Liverpool against Crystal Palace. We'll have also updates from the Championship games and Irish Premiership games as well for you on Sunday. Then, next Tuesday, the 12th of August, we will have the Carabao Cup first round. We'll have the Super Cup. And then we'll have the Premier League starting on Friday, the 15th of August. Bournemouth are making 5 changes here. Friday, the 15th of August, Liverpool v Bournemouth is game 1 of the new campaign. Then, if we have Saturday action, at 12:30 is Aston Villa Newcastle, followed by Wolves Man City at 5:30 on the opening Saturday. Then Sunday the 17th, our first Sunday doubleheader of the new season, sees Chelsea take on Crystal Palace in a London derby at 2, followed by a 4:30 game, a cracker to open the weekend. Man United against Arsenal at Old Trafford. What a game for match week 1. And then we round off match week 1 in the Premier League with on the 18th of August with Leeds, newly promoted Leeds, taking on Everton at Elland Road. And then we'll have European football, the Champions League playoff rounds. We'll have more Premier League action. August is jam-packed with action with a new season underway. And we have so much for you to look forward to. I genuinely am so excited to get going again. You won't believe it. But yeah, the Championship is something we want to improve and we want to show more of this season. We want to have more games of, but of course with the Premier League having more games, it'll be hard to do that, but we'll try our very best to give you as best an experience with everything and every game and every moment as we possibly can across the season. 6 minutes to go here, by the way, of this one, and West Ham are making more changes of their own at the moment. So a lot of movement from both benches at the moment. Reminder for you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already. That'd be greatly appreciated as Season 4 gets underway here in LFS. It is great to have you all with us for another campaign, and we get fully underway, of course, on Friday night for the Championship, getting league football back on LFS, but the pre-season friendlies, a couple of those to get your teeth into before that, to give us a little bit of a warm-up, our own pre-season, shall we say. As Bournemouth have another corner here, and this right-hand side will be one of their substitutes, number 21, whoever that is. Caoimhan Ferris, the Frenchman, delivers in. Cleared away. West Ham once more. I'm sorry if I don't know any of the players because they've changed nearly every player on the pitch, so it's look at numbers and figure out. But it's keeping an eye on it as Ferris wins another corner off Jared Bowen, who has stayed on the field for West Ham. Goal and assist for the Hammers captain. Another delivery in. The flick-on header is caught by Areola, but a decent attempt there by, I think it's Julio Soler that got that header. Another one of the Bournemouth subs that was made in the last few minutes. This will be a positive result for West Ham. It's, as I said, prior to the game, actually, or earlier in the game, in the broadcast, in the live stream, West Ham have a very good record against Bournemouth in any game, in any competition. Unbeaten in their last 7 in all competitions against Bournemouth. That was going to be in their last 8, it seems, here tonight. Including the last 4 Premier League meetings have all ended in draws. So that run of draws in this fixture is going to come to an end, it seems, tonight. But as I said, Bournemouth haven't beaten West Ham since September 2020, so almost 5 years since Bournemouth last claimed victory over West Ham. But they do meet for the first time in the Premier League, officially, in November, 22nd of November. They will be at the Vitality for their first fixture between these two of the season. And then in February, they will meet at the London Stadium for the reverse fixture a little later on in the campaign. So these two will be hotly contested when they play each other a little later in the year and the start of 2026, of course. Right, Ferris is over this free kick for Bournemouth. 3 minutes of the 90 to go. High up on this right-hand side with this free kick. Ferris, their footed delivery a bit high and punched away by Areola, but I don't think he really needed to. Looked like it was going behind from the free kick, but he punched it, did Areola, and it will be a Bournemouth corner. Maybe a little bit of a cheap corner to give away. I have to be 100% sure. He's rocking a new hairstyle, Alphonse Areola, by the way. He's gone long. Favourite to deliver in. Another corner, flicked on with a header, but again cleared away by West Ham defensively. Very strong this evening, West Ham in the air. Certainly from those set pieces. A lot of Bournemouth corners tonight, but West Ham have always looked the best. And certainly the better of the two teams from those positions. This evening, 13 corners Bournemouth have had tonight. And I think West Ham have probably dealt with all of them, really, without major concern. That's a nice little turn of pace down that right-hand side here from Bournemouth. There's a ball into the box, and it's all the way through and behind by Kyle Walker-Peters for a corner. I think it was Dango Ouattara bursting down that right side. Got past his man, he got into the box, and as he tried to square it across, there was no one central. And Kyle Walker-Peters knew there was a man behind him, and he did well to put it behind for the corner. Favre. Corner delivered in, the shots. Bit of ping pong as it's bounced around and drops into the hands of Areola. Shown more threat in the last few minutes, Bournemouth, but once again West Ham survive without any defence breaching moments. This will be a big result for West Ham in pre-season. It will give them a lot of confidence in what they're doing, how far they're coming along in pre-season, and also against their opponents. Despite it being pre-season, this is still a Bournemouth side who are a very good Premier League team, and they will be happy that tonight West Ham, they've probably been the better side, despite maybe not having as many shots or as much possession or all of that usually shows who's the better team, but stats can lie sometimes, and West Ham, despite having less of all of that, have probably been the better team. As we edge to the 90 minutes, as West Ham are going to make a double change later on, and the multitude of West Ham fans in one part of this stadium celebrating along with what they've seen from their team tonight. A very positive performance from them. Looks like Oliver Scarlett and Callum Marshall are going to be coming on here for West Ham. Callum Marshall from Northern Ireland, and Ollie Scarlett from England, of course. He made a couple of appearances for West Ham last season, Ollie Scarlett. He had 15 Premier League appearances for the Hammers, one in the FA Cup as well, at senior level. So he was called upon quite a lot last season, Ollie Scarlett. He's on and playing here for West Ham in the dying embers. 3 minutes of additional time, by the way, of which we've already played one of those 3 minutes. Nice little combinations in the midfield there from West Ham. Ball worked out to the left-hand side. Araujo beaten to it. And the ball into the box was cleared away again by the Bournemouth defence. But I think that was Marshall wide that got that ball towards the goal. More positivity from West Ham with their substitutes. But this is just about managing this game to an end now. As Areola gives it away a little cheaply. Good movement from the Bournemouth players now. Here is Araujo. Goes out wide to Ouattara. Dango Ouattara. And to dribble his way through, run into bodies, but Favre was there to rescue the throw-in for Bournemouth. And a minute to go. It's going to be pretty clear what the result's going to be. It's going to be a West Ham victory. It's going to be West Ham or Man United that will claim the Premier League Summer Series trophy. course, you would probably say the odds are probably against West Ham to win it, but it's not impossible, which is what keeps it alive. And we'll tell you more about that in our second game, which is on the way very shortly, by the way. It's a 10 o'clock kickoff, Man United against Everton. We'll be live shortly in about an hour's time exactly for the build-up and the kickoff of that game. Our second Summer Series game of the night and our second game of the new campaign. It was Nicholas Fulkrug that opened the scoring for the Hammers. And it was Jared Bowen that found the second. It was a pretty all-round performance from West Ham. Solid defensively, ruthless in attack when they got forward. Despite less possession, less shots, probably less of it to show for from West Ham tonight, but they got the job done. And it is more improvement for Graham Potter and his team. They probably didn't have the best of it last season in the Premier League, but they will be heading into the new Premier League season off the back of a very good Premier League Summer Series campaign. Beating Everton and beating Bournemouth. Only losing narrowly to Manchester United. It will be a good start to the campaign if they get off to a win, West Ham, when they do eventually play in the Premier League. When that comes around. They've won pre-season game before that against Lille, but they head to Sunderland, newly promoted Sunderland, in 13 days' time. Bournemouth, they end the campaign a little bit disappointingly, really, from the Summer Series. They started really well against Everton, but it fell away against United, 4-1 defeat, and then a 2-0 defeat here to West Ham tonight. A lot of work still for Andoni Iraola's team to do, but they will start the campaign in the Premier League away to the champions Liverpool on the Friday night to start the campaign. It's a good night for West Ham in Atlanta. They still have a chance to win this trophy if the result goes their way a little later. But final score from this one tonight, it's finished Bournemouth 0, West Ham United 2. And a positive result for West Ham on the night. Jared Bowen and Nicholas Fulkrug on the score sheet. And that gives them 6 points out of a possible 9. And they still, if goal difference goes their way, they could still finish top and get that trophy to take back to East London with them in a few hours' time. We will see as that game between Man United and Everton takes place a little later on tonight, 10 o'clock, as the two sides from the northwest of England take on centre stage here in Atlanta, Georgia. That is coming up in about an hour's time. Thanks for joining us for this one. I'll be back very shortly for the second game of the night.